Hi, I'm Gary White for Central Kentucky Television. I'm here with Nelson County School Superintendent Anthony Orr for our Ask the Superintendent segment here for the month of April. And we have a few different topics we want to talk about. We're meeting as you just got back from spring break.
Yay.
Yeah. Which means it's getting towards the end of the year.
We're getting very close to the end of the year. I haven't looked, but I think we've just got about 6-7 weeks left, and I'm sure kids are getting excited, adults are getting excited.
That's right.
I talked to a student today who said he'd had a good spring break, but it had whetted his appetite for summer.
Yep. And the weather has been pretty good. So
It's been really nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Last weekend anyway.
Absolutely. So we still, even though it's spring, we did recently have some school adjustments for weather still, with possibilities of flooding. And I know you let out, was it 1 or 2 days?
We let out a couple of hours early just before spring break, and we were still really just kind of adjusting to the snow that we'd had back in March. So the conclusions that we have come to, we're going to be able to end school on May 29th.
Okay.
So we're pretty pleased with that. That's a Friday, and we're going to go ahead and have both our high school graduations that evening. And so Thomas Nelson High School will graduate at 5:30 that evening on the 29th, and it'll give us a chance to do their graduation. And then for folks who have connections to both schools, and we know that involves a lot of the community, they'll have time to move on over to Nelson County High School, and we'll have the Nelson County High School graduation at 7:30 on the evening of the 29th. And then both schools will be able to have their project graduation for their students that night. Parents that are helping out with that hopefully won't have to go to work on Saturday. So.
Right, yeah, that's good. Now, last year you did it where they were both on the same night, and that seemed to work out pretty well, right?
It did. It was a little nerve-wracking because obviously we'd never had two graduations to conduct at the same time of the year before, and so it worked out well with that 5:30, 7:30 time frame. And so really the only thing that's different this year is the fact that we're flip-flopping. Last year Nelson County went first, and this year it'll be Thomas Nelson's turn to go first, and we'll just alternate those, until 20 or 30 years when we need a new high school.
Very good, very good. So again, it's going to be May the 29th, last day of school, as well as graduation for the Nelson County school system. So you can put that on your calendar, and hopefully it will be able to stay there, right?
I think it will. We still have actually a little bit of wiggle room with the length of our school day, so that if we were to have to miss an additional day or so due to inclement weather or some other unpredictable circumstance, we would still be able to finish on the 29th. So we think we'll be in good shape.
Great, very good. Now, also, since it's coming up towards the end of the school year, that means we're kind of looking forward to the next school year, right?
It really does. I think we're certainly into the mode where we're kind of finishing off a lot of the instructional work that we need to get ready for the testing period that comes at the end of the year with the state assessment. We'll be doing those tests the last 2 or 3 weeks of the school year and finishing that up. But we're certainly looking forward to that experience for the kids to be able to show what they've learned throughout the course of the year. And really, we have some early results that come from some of the work that we do with kids to find out exactly where they are in their learning. And what we're seeing from those results is that we should expect good things from the state testing as well. Of course, that data won't come back to us until the fall, but we're expecting good things from that and looking forward to the kids having an opportunity to show off what they and their teachers have worked on together all year long.
Absolutely.
So that's a good thing, but really in terms of my work and a lot of our principals' work, we're definitely focused on what happens for next year, getting our staffing ready, getting our budgets ready. A couple of things that we're really excited about is it looks like we're going to be able to start within the next few months on the anticipated expansion of our early learning center, which has really been pretty much at capacity since we opened it about 3 years ago.
Wow.
And so we're moving and progressing along that path. And then as well, we're also excited because it looks like we've got a really good shot at being able to start the building of our an auditorium at Thomas Nelson High School. I guess I'm having a hard time spitting it out because it's been so long in coming, but we're really excited. That's been a part of that building that we weren't able to complete when we first got going because the bonding capacity just wasn't available to us to get that whole project underway. But now it looks like we're going to be able to work on both of these simultaneously. We still have some details to work out, and it'll be some time before we get started, and it'll be at the earliest it would be August of 2016 before those facilities would be ready. Okay. But we're excited about the potential for that for the kids and for the district as well.
Yeah. So where would that structure go on campus?
The auditorium at Thomas Nelson, if you pull into the student parking area, there's a main entryway that comes directly from that student parking area, and you would notice a big white wall on the exterior that looks, if you think about it, a little out of place because most of the rest of the building has got a brick facade, and this has got just a white siding there and a good size of open ground, and that's actually where the auditorium will go. Okay. It'll connect to the rest of the building there, but it will also work out that we'll have entryway through that doorway system that's already in place, and people will be able to go into the auditorium. They'll be able to go into the gym if there's something going on there. But that's where that has been planned to be built.
Okay, so yeah, a little over a year or so, hopefully we'll have...
Keeping our fingers crossed. Keeping our fingers crossed.
So I'll keep you up to date on what's going on with that. You said last time, I think, when you were on here talking with Kenny, you talked a little bit about the whole system going on with the annexation with the schools, Bardstown school system, as well as with the Nelson County school system and how that stuff is working out. Can you give us an update on that? And also, there have been some questions with the growth of the school or the city itself. Would that impact the schools? Sure.
I think there certainly has been some conversation in the area about the contract for out-of-district students between Nelson County and Bardstown. We're still working out a few details around that, but we've got most of that straightened out, and I hope that within the next few weeks we'll have all of that information finalized. But I think when we have that conversation kind of at the forefront of people's minds, and certainly our school boards have been working on that, then over the last few weeks and months, the city has been talking about some annexation recommendations that they've had. And so there will be some neighborhoods that the city will annex to become part of the city boundary itself. And so there'll be some impact for those neighborhoods in terms of city versus county government. And I think there's been some confusion that if a neighborhood gets annexed by the city, how does that change the school attendance zones for students and families living in those areas? And one of the things that most people may not be aware of is that years ago there was an agreement reached that even as the city might expand its boundaries, the boundaries between the attendance zones of the schools would not change. Okay. So for instance, if you live in a neighborhood that appears like it's going to be annexed by the city in the next few weeks and months, that looks like it's probably going to happen, but if your students are currently zoned for Nelson County, then they would remain Nelson County addresses for that purpose alone.
Okay, so even annexation is not, the school system's boundary lines aren't necessarily the city boundary lines.
That's exactly right. The school system boundaries don't change. In fact, our school district board members' zones align with the county commissioners' zones. So there's some connection there, but even as the city grows and annexes new areas, the boundary for where you go to school remains the same as it is.
Okay. So
clear as mud, I'm
yes,
sure.
Exactly.
But if anybody has questions, they can get in touch with us and we'll help them figure it out. But if you are a Nelson County address, you will remain a Nelson County address.
Right. Now, also, last time I think we were around, we were talking a little bit about a survey that you had conducted. Do you have some of the results of them yet, or are you still working on that?
Still working on getting that together. What I want to be able to do is hand that to the individual schools and let them have some time to process that. So that's still very much underway.
Okay, so maybe next time we'll have some more results. Well, good. So we're getting ready for the end of the school year. That's only a few weeks left. Yeah. May 29th will be the last day for school as well as for graduation. at Nelson County and at Thomas Nelson. Anything else we need to be letting people know about?
We're just going to be plugging at it hard for the rest of the school year. Not many days that we'll have off over the next few weeks, so we'll really be focused on getting the job done and closing out strong.
Great. And I'm talking with Nelson County School Superintendent Anthony Orr. This has been Gary White for Central Kentucky Television.